Multidisciplinary care is one perspective of care. And you can look at it as if, say, you're going to take your car in to get fixed. You say, okay, I'm going to take my car in. And, for me, I don't know that much about cars. I just want to go get it fixed. I want it to run again. Well, you can take it to an auto shop, and there's, one or two guys there. They work all day long, and they know a pretty good amount about all the things. But have you ever noticed you take a car in and they replace the battery, then they replace the cables, and then they replace the computer, and then they replace something else, and they keep saying, it's still not running. I think we need to replace the carburetor. That's happened to me a number of times, which is why I now take it to a big multidisciplinary shop that when I take it in, I say it's not running. And they say, oh, let's figure it out. And they plug in their computers, and some guy does whatever they do. They say, it's the carburetor. I didn't have to go replace the battery and the cables and whatever else stuff. Same thing when you come to a multidisciplinary program such as ours. You don't have to futz around with some guy trying to read the tea leaves and interpret what the difference is. You just go to the expert. And if you want to know what's going to happen with a chest mass or a heart problem or a bowel problem, we'll get that guy. We're not going to get just some guy who's really good at all those things. We're going to get the guy who's seen a lot of them, is not just out of his training, who's probably written some articles about it, probably presented in front of national conferences about the same topic, and has a clinic full of these patients. It's a difference in perspective. It's a difference in depth of knowledge. And much of that knowledge that expert is trying to share with the parent is not written down. Just like the expert when you go to the mechanic, it's not written down that when your car goes kerplunk plunk. It's very different when it goes chunk chunk chunk. And when you come up and talk to me about a diaphragmatic hernia, and I say, it's got the liver up and its lung volume is 10%, that's very different than a diaphragmatic hernia with a lung volume of 25%. And I know that difference. But I don't think the general practitioner or the guy who's trying to be good at all things can be an expert at that area. So if your baby has 2 or 3 or 4 problems, you need an expert to opine on each of those problems so he knows really to a very high level of resolution what each of those issues are. And then we'll try to wrap it up. The nurse actually is the one who ends up wrapping it up into a package saying, this is what it all means. Each one of these things is repairable. Each one of them is going to be a big deal. But you know what? Each one of them only has a 5% mortality, so your baby has an 80% chance of surviving and being normal. That's a big thing to communicate, as opposed to somebody who would say, well, that's overwhelming. There's 4 big problems here, and I don't think anybody could save them. And those patients come to us all the time. I can't tell you the number of patients who have, some problem they've been told, this happens at least twice a week. Somebody somewhere told this parent that their baby has a problem that can't be solved. They just can't be fixed. And they come to us and we say, oh yeah, we'll fix it. Or at least we'll treat it. Or we'll help you through it. And that is what we provide. That's what's unique.